What's good, y'all? BeatGenerals.com back with a brand new tutorial. In this week's tutorial, I'll be showing you guys a beat that I made that was based off of Secrets by The Weeknd that was actually on the Starboy album. So I kind of started the track off loosely based on that. I really kind of like the drums and the intro on that, and then I just kind of switched it up from there. Mine actually goes from a major to a minor key in the hook and just kind of takes a much kind of darker twist than what theirs did. For all my VIP members, make sure you download the kit. All of the sounds that I use in this are in the kit for you guys, and you guys get those free just for being VIP members, so make sure you don't miss out on the kit and go ahead and download that now. But without further talking, let's go ahead and jump in the next session and get started on this beat. So the first thing that we're going to go ahead and start off with is our drums. If you're ever having beat block or just kind of stuck creatively, it kind of helps sometimes just change up your workflow. So whether that's just changing up a style and doing a style you don't usually do, using a BPM you don't use, or maybe just starting in a reverse kind of order than what you usually do, it all can kind of help you shake off that kind of beat block that we all get. So for this particular track, I started off with the drums. As most of you guys know, I should not say all of you guys, but as most of you guys know, I usually start with the melodies. So the first thing I did is I just went ahead and I did this and then just did fill each 4 steps. Right click, select piano roll, hit Alt and Q to quantize these. And for the actual kick, I'm going to use the MPC to quantize. Accept. Okay, so very basic, nothing we haven't heard before. Now I'm going to go ahead and add this hi-hat in here, just kind of pick up the pace a little bit and give it some bounce. I'm going to go ahead and fill each 2 steps. Then we're going to go into the piano roll and we're going to hit Alt and Q to quantize this. Now, instead of using the 16 MPC2, we want to give it a little bit of a liver type feel. I want to kind of avoid that super robotic pop sound that's out. I wanted to have just slightly more swing on my drums and have it have a little bit more of a groove. So the quantize setting I actually picked was going to be pushing groove 2, open, and then hit accept. Now if you actually scroll in here, you can actually see how much this pushes the notes off of the grid, right? Because if you just were to click in a note, that is technically where you would click it in. And how we originally had it. Now if you look at where the actual note is, it's shifted a good amount, and that's going to really help you avoid that kind of robotic super stiff bounce that a lot of people hate on FL Studio for. So just kind of play with the quantize. It's kind of a big part of it, but right now you're not going to hear this too much, but as the kind of track builds, you'll start to notice a little bit more of the groove. So I'm not sure how many of you guys can catch that, but if you listen to it, you can hear that kind of misstep with the kick and the hat. That's going to help us kind of build that groove. Now I want this hat to be a lot lighter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hold shift and use my up arrow on my keyboard. And I'm going to use that just to move it up to a G sharp. It's just going to give me a much lighter feel. Okay, now there's a couple rules that I want to add in here. So we're going to go ahead and select half step. And the first note that I'm going to add is going to be right here. So it's going to be kind of like a second note. And then the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and add 1 note right here in between. And then for this little section, we're going to just go ahead and fill this in like so. And I actually moved that to the wrong spot. We want this to be over here. Then we're going to go ahead and make another little roll right here. And another one over here as well. Okay, and that was basically the hat pattern that I used. So let's jump in the next section and continue on the drums. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and add to this is this second little hi-hat. And I'm going to use this hat just kind of in between here, just kind of highlight notes and add kind of a second little groove to the track. So it's going to basically just go ahead and play this for the most part, and then we're just going to go back and remove a couple notes. I believe it was kind of something like this. So we have something like that, very simple, but just kind of helps highlight some of the notes and just kind of give it a little bit of a different groove. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add 2 of these snares. So we have this snare and then we have this snare. So these are both included in the kit as well. All these drums are. So the next thing I'm going to do is just do my typical kind of snare pattern. You can really you have to do it just to one. You don't have to do it to both of them. And then just Control C, Control V to go ahead and copy and paste it. So right now, before we add any kind of effects to them, this is what they sound like. So that doesn't sound bad at all. They sound nice and full. The only thing I actually wanted to do to them was just cut a little bit of the low end on them, just so that they're not competing for frequencies with any of my other drums, and they have a nice kind of a little bit of a lighter type feel. So just on 2, we're just gonna cut a little bit of the low end on them. So you don't want to go too far to where they sound basically like nothing. You still want to kind of keep the shape of the sound, but you want to just kind of get rid of the frequencies you don't need. So as you can see, there's still a ton of frequencies down here. We just go ahead and cut it like that. And then the other thing I wanted to add was just this little bongo. Let's go ahead and trim that, edit. And then you're going to go ahead and detect pitch region. So it's a D sharp. So all you have to do is just come in here, see D sharp. And now we know it's actually tuned correctly. So let's just go ahead and just shorten that sound up. We just don't want it to be quite as full. Then make sure we right click D sharp, got that. So that pretty much does it for the drum pattern until we add our second set of drums that are going to fill out the track and just give it that much bigger presence. So let's jump in the next section and continue adding the other elements. So the first sound that I'll actually be starting out with is the PD Groove Pad 1 from EXO the Stars from studiosounds.com. And to actually load any single sound into Massive, all you want to do is just hit File, Open Sound, and go to the Starboy tutorial bank and just go into the VST presets. And for this particular sound, we're going to be using the PD Groove Pad. And we're going to basically just be playing 2 notes. So for the actual verse, we're going to start with a major key, and we're going to be using a G major. And then for the hook, we're actually going to switch it into a minor key to give it a much more emotional sound, which is something that works really well for that Weeknd type sound, going from a more lighthearted kind of hook, or excuse me, a more kind of lighthearted verse into a more emotional hook. So it's just a really great technique to have. But anyway, just start off the verse. What we're going to do is just go ahead and lay down these 2 chords. And I'll go ahead and lay these down and I'll show you guys the notes. So really simple, but just has that nice kind of airy type feel that the Secrets track has initially. And as you can see, it's just G, B, D, F sharp, and then just a C major chord, C, E, G. And when you put them together, it's just what they sound like. And let's go ahead and turn those up. So now if we add this to this for the intro, it's kind of what we have. And that's obviously what the verse sounds like mostly. There's still a couple elements that come into there. But let's jump to the next section and add the second element that we need. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and add to this is BA ARP Food 2 from EXO the Stars from studiosounds.com. And this is just a nice kind of little bass line sound. It's great for little quick bass lines or quick little accent type sounds. So that's basically what I'm going to use it for. It's going to be very kind of gentle in there, not super low or anything. So I'm going to start out with a B. And you guys will see the way I kind of used it in here was almost more so almost like a perk type sound or percussion type sound versus a heavy type bass line sound. So I kind of started off with something like this. Went for a little bit of the bigger note over here, then shorter note again, followed by the little bit of a longer note. So basically something like that. As you could tell, super short little accent notes, and I'm just kind of pulling notes from the chords. I went with, as you can tell, a B, which is directly in the chord, and then for this I went with a C, which is directly in the chord, and then for this little G over here I pulled this directly from up here as well, which is directly part of the chord. I just took it down an octave. So this is basically what you have, and keeping this kind of airy type bass line also allows us to make the hook a lot more dramatic. So when that hook drops, it's going to feel a lot more full and complete. But anyways, without further talking, let's go and jump to the next section and we'll program the effects we need to kind of create that secrets type intro.